I've seen that one too.
Yeah. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Eddie Life Podcast, episode number 295. I'm here with Alain Chartrand.
Hello and welcome, and thank you for having me.
Man, thank you for coming. I got to see some of your videos. I loved them. I love especially that pyramid video. I love the white rabbit concept. I love it all. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me here.
My pleasure, brother. I got to start off hot, man. Like, how did you get involved in, like, all the conspiracy sort of stuff? I love that.
All right. Well, a long time ago, I was teaching one of my adult students about conspiracy theories, and he didn't know what a conspiracy theory was, and
Okay.
I gave him the idea that some people think we have not been to the moon, and some people know that we have been to the moon. And then he's like, but we have been to the moon. I'm like, yeah, but that's just what some people think, and it's a conspiracy. And so from there, I wanted to just Google conspiracy theory map of the world to show him how much is out there, and there was nothing. So I decided to make a conspiracy theory map of the world to just for fun. And I was already painting around that time anyway, and then I just would spend all my time researching conspiracies so I could pinpoint them on geographic locations on my map. And that's how it started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long ago was this, man?
It took me 5 years to finish the map because it wasn't like it was. I would only work a year.
Oh, shoot,
or when I had like 4 hours, I could like set everything up, put everything down, and get to work.
And when did it occur to you that there could be or there is a pyramid in Taiwan? Because I've never heard that before, and that was the one for me that was like, what?
Yeah, that one I found out. Basically, I had a friend that I did everything with in Taiwan, and he was leaving Taiwan, and he wanted to do one more outdoor adventure before he left. Excuse me.
Yeah, do your thing.
And so I told him I heard that there's a rumor of a pyramid on Yamingshan Mountain, and I had found it by reading someone's blog over many days. And so we had a general idea of where the pyramid was, which is 7-Star Mountain. And so we started off by going to the Yamingshan Visitor Center to say, hey, we want to go to the pyramid. Where is it? And they're like, no, you can't go to the pyramid. So then we went to the Qishingshan Visitor Center and said the same thing. We want to go to the pyramid. They're like, no, you can't go to the pyramid. So I said, okay, we don't want to go to the pyramid. We just want to look at it from the top of the mountain. And she put it next on the map. And then I had my machete. I didn't need it because there was already kind of like, I call them chicken trails.
Okay.
But and we made our way through the bamboo, and we went right past the pyramid because it was a foggy day and we couldn't see anything. But on the way back, we saw the outline of what some people might think is the pyramid. So then we went back on a sunny day, and it confirmed that it was what some people say is the pyramid.
Okay, which is incredible because you never hear that. Like, I've never even heard when Francis was telling me that, editing a video for you, and you guys did this pyramid video. I was like, what? You got to send it to me. So he's like, it took him a while to edit it. And then he's like, here's the video. And I said, okay, we got to hook up and do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. And so, like, have you always, like, before you came to Taiwan, had this, like, curiosity for, like, the conspiracy stuff? Or was just because you're like, no, I'm going to make, like, this class for this guy?
It was not. I was vaguely interested in conspiracy theories just as the average person was.
Okay.
It was only when I started deeply researching, like all my free time, I'd be watching YouTube videos and Googling stuff, and I got a new location for Alaska, I got a new location for the Philippines or something like that.
Okay.
And then, there are some empty spots on the map I was trying to fill out, but like northern Russia and northern Canada are kind of
I'll pull the map up
empty.
right there. Boom. Yes.
Yeah. So this is my conspiracy theory map of the world with all kinds of anomalies and giants, inner Earth entrances. And
So how do you find this info? Because, I mean, obviously conspiracy stuff that's not going to be easy to find. You're going to have to, dive deep into the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
So how would one find something like this? Like mapping out all this stuff. Like, where are you getting the info from?
Mostly YouTube, and just, one video follows to the next one and the next one, and like it's like an endless rabbit hole. You fall asleep and you wake up and you're like, what is this? I never would have found this being awake,
Okay, yeah, for sure, yeah. I right now I'm looking at like, I have a daughter, and we're looking at, she's doing junior high, and junior high it's kind of like a crazy pressure and stuff like that. So we're kind of debating on what to do with there. And then you look at like, you know, the private school is super expensive. And then you look at, you know, the public school and it's like 10, 12 hours of school a day and it's burning her out. And then you look at the homeschool or the online school and you're like, should we do that? And then when you actually dive deep, it's, you know, it gets like a conspiracy almost, right? They're talking about, you know, school was invented to train people to be workers in the factory for the Industrial Revolution.
That's exactly how it started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the 1910s or 20s. And they were just like, we need people to work in our factories. So we're going to teach them just what they need to know to do that.
Yeah.
And not, you know, university or anything like that.
Yeah. So it seems like the deeper I go into that kind of thing, because I was curious about that. Yeah. Because I thought, you know, everybody's like, you know, get a job, you know, go to school, get a job and stuff like that. But for me, I, you know, and yourself, come to Taiwan, you know, do something different, you know, open your own business, whatever, open my restaurant stuff. And it's been cool. I think it's been good. So to put my daughter in like 10 hours of school a day at 12 years old, it's rough, man. So we're kind of like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. The Taiwan education system is nuts.
It's pretty nuts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me more about the pyramid, right? Like, so,
all right.
The video that I saw, like you guys were going, right? And you went in and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about that. That's amazing.
So, the pyramid was found by the Japanese during their occupation of Taiwan in like the 40s and 50s, and they dated their archaeologists dated the pyramid to 5000 BCE, which is 7,000 years ago, which is older than Taiwan and China's 5,000-year history. I know they shouldn't be combined, but
okay, whoa, yeah, I know.
And then and even the Taipei Times, they made an article about it 10 years ago.
Really?
And basically, the Taiwanese and the journalists went to like the Archaeologist Society of Taiwan to say, hey, you have to go investigate this, and they basically refused. And that was in the article itself.
And that's when the conspiracy starts. Like, why are these guys refusing this? Like, they don't want to know about.
And they don't want to have to rewrite any history books. Same like in the West, you know, they find some discovery. Oh, there's some older human remains in Africa, so now this is the oldest person, and then now it's in Alaska, and like, you know, we keep finding stuff that's older, like Göbekli Tepe, which is like 13,800 years old.
Okay.
And like standard history says humans were not, you know, farming until 6,000 years ago.
Okay.
So it goes against everything. And for Göbekli Tepe, they actually stopped doing the excavations.
Okay.
And they planted trees all over the property, which would degrade the ruins in the ground.
Oh. And kind of like sort of use nature to destroy it a little bit.
They've done a lot, but it's like 99% bigger, you know. And they found another Göbekli Tepe site. It's not called Göbekli Tepe. It's called something else Tepe, but it's like 50 kilometers away.
Okay.
And it's even older than that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Wow. And I just have so many questions about the pyramid, man. So,
sorry.
I mean, you go in. No, that's great. No, that's good. No, so you're inside, like you're going in, and I mean, people were saying, "Oh yeah, that's where it is." Oh yeah. Oh no, you can't go in there. People kind of like. What was their reaction? Like people that must know, people that are kind of working up there, they must know something.
So the pyramid is on what used to be military land.
Okay.
So there's the Taiwan CIA building nearby on Yamingshan.
Okay.
And the pyramid was inside of that land. So in the 80s, if you went there and they found you, you would get shot because it's military land. So now that land is no longer military land. It's been donated to the national park.
Okay.
So it's no longer illegal to go there. It's just kind of discouraged because they don't maintain the trails. There's no service. If you have a problem, no one can help you kind of thing.
Okay.
So I have seen other people at the pyramid area. Usually when I go once a year, I bring like a dozen people or so.
Okay.
And the mission every year is to find the secret tunnels that I have not yet found.
Okay.
And then I tell people, like, you get your bus money back if you find the tunnel, and so we can investigate it.
That's awesome, yeah.
So I basically bring them to there's 7 ancient structures in the vicinity of the pyramid.
Okay.
I have found 5 of them. And so I say, this is that, and I have a little bit of information, like this is the altar, and then this one is just a wall with interlocking stones and stuff. Another one is called Kissing Rocks.
Okay,
And behind the Kissing Rocks monolith, there's what seems to be a statue embedded in the roots of the tree next to some more interlocking polygonal stones.
Yeah.
And then there's also a Japanese grave
Okay. Yeah, I
which-
saw that in your
And
video.
then
Yeah.
there's an altar for that grave, and there's also another altar that I found just last year,
Okay. Okay.
which is called like the Mother Temple of the Earth. It's kind of like protecting hikers as they go into the mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so so it's not illegal to go.
Yeah, it's not
just
illegal
frowned
to
upon,
go.
kind of.
Yeah, like
okay.
if you go, you have to be prepared because it's easy to get lost. The first time I went there, I got totally lost. I was underprepared. Like in Canada, like we would have like you have your marking tape, you have like, some security things, you have flares maybe, but we just we woke up late, got Starbucks at 12, got to the top of the mountain at 1, and then like went inside and explored. And then we came back in total darkness.
Okay.
We had the flashlights because we knew about the tunnels, but we didn't find. We had to look at every single step on the way down with the flashlight.
Really?
But and I'm also colorblind.
Oh.
So
okay.
the marking tape is good for me, but that first time I didn't have it. My friend was wearing a dark brown coat, so he's basically invisible.
Invisible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's cool, man. And, has there been any like really cool findings that you found like inside? What's like some of the cool things that I would imagine there'd be some cool like I don't know. I'm not that educated on this stuff like hieroglyphic stuff or
there's
what's
no
in there?
hieroglyphic stuff
What's in
that I've
there?
seen.
Okay.
Usually we just have time to. We'll be in the parking lot at like 11 a.m. Get to the top at 12. Get down to the clearing area where the stuff is. Have a
Okay.
couple hours to explore, and then we have to head back. We haven't really had like a
Oh, okay,
all day
okay.
experience to like search the whole grounds and stuff. But over the years, I've probably brought about 60 people there, and we've
Okay.
all scoured the grounds, and nothing's been found except for the polygonal interlocking stones and stuff like that.
Well, you're gonna have to get like a Mr. Beast style video. Hey, we spent 5 days in the pyramid or something like that.
I'm pretty sure it's illegal.
That's probably illegal. Yeah. Okay. There we go. That's crossing the line. Okay. Okay. And so like the rabbit hole effect. Tell me some more theories about the pyramid, about other things that you. think about.
In my other videos, I've mentioned that all of the ancient pyramids are interconnected, and they would
Okay.
like have some kind of like energy coming out of it, and they would like interconnect all the pyramids of the world to make a protective shield around the planet.
Okay.
I talked about that in the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun episode, which I went on location and then I
That's
filmed
amazing.
on the top of the pyramid and in the tunnels and stuff. It's also very contested whether it's a pyramid or just a mountain
Okay.
as well.
and do they actually there? Is it also it's legal or it's illegal?
Oh
Is it like
yeah,
is it all kind of like gray?
It's legal,
or-
but it's very contested. So like, there's one guy. The main guy is Dr. Sam Osmanagish, and he is the main proponent of the pyramid, and he's collected lots of funds and donations and gets
Okay.
volunteers to get wheelbarrows to take soil out of the mountain. So basically, the tunnel that is the entrance inside the mountain
Okay.
was completely sealed with like rubble and rocks
Okay.
and stuff 5,000 years ago.
Okay. Okay.
And so the deeper they dig, the older the stuff becomes.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
like now there's a stone that says like, it's basically saying that like they sealed this place because there's a portal that is dangerous. So that's why they sealed it. And it's
Okay.
in runic ruins and it's on the stone. And that's apparently 8,000 years old. But that pyramid has been dated to 32,000 years old. They found the soil on the top layer is like 29,500 years old. And then they found a leaf between two rock slabs, which is
Okay.
32,500 years old or something like that.
That's a long time. Like
Yeah, a lot of the
Okay,
pyramids
okay,
are
wow.
way older than what big archaeology says they
Yeah.
really are. They're like they have a certain way of dating things, but it's not an exact science. Like the radiocarbon dating is,
Okay.
but not everything can be radiocarbon dated. It has
Sure.
to be like something that was alive or burnt.
Is there like people that, I mean, there's got to be some kind of like stories or something like I don't know, like traditional, like, oh, this was built by blah blah blah, or who built the pyramids. There's always the contested of, like in Egypt, the pyramids are massive, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, how could someone build such a perfect looking pyramid?
Yes.
I mean, what's the theory on that?
It ties in with the continent of Mu, the Nekals.
Okay.
So there was a vast empire, like a continent the size of like, well, it's from Taiwan it's basically it's from like the Mariana Islands, but some people at the most extreme say that it included Taiwan.
Okay.
So Taiwan to the west, Easter Island to the east, Hawaii to the north, and Rapa Iti in the south.
Okay.
Rapa Iti is very unknown. It's in French Polynesia.
It's this one, right?
It's that one,
That's
yeah.
it. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about that one. Yeah.
So this is the continent of Mu, and there are several megalithic structures and legends of giants, radioactivity, all across the different islands. And basically, it used to be a continent, and then after several cataclysms and pole shifts, the continent fractured into a large-scale archipelago.
Okay.
And after more, it's fractured more, and the only thing that's left now is the very, very high mountaintops, which
Okay.
are now those islands.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there an agreement on like who built the pyramids? We got a question up here. Who built the pyramids, right?
All of them, or just
I
those?
mean, just yeah.
the
I would
Pacific-
imagine it's not the same people that built them all, right? Or,
There's a lot of different theories,
Okay.
but like the Nakals of the continent of Mu, basically they wanted to safeguard secrets for the future.
Okay.
So the best way for anything to survive a cataclysm is to be in a secure, enclosed location, kind of like the seed vault in
where is that?
Norway.
Norway. Okay.
So, but like they built pyramids, and they didn't only build one pyramid; they built pyramids everywhere because they had satellite settlements all over the world, in Mesoamerica, California, Russia, New Zealand, Australia. Like they were everywhere. It's like the West is expanding. Like there are Americans in every country, kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And so they put the word out that everybody has to build pyramids now, and then like this is the main design, but you can choose the details yourselves.
Really? Okay.
And
okay.
then so those were kind of like rated by the CIA and places like those organizations to get that knowledge. And that's
Okay.
why we're not allowed to go under the pyramids of Egypt and stuff like that.
Apparently, there's the tunnels, and that are the Egypt ones have the tunnels and all that, right? I've seen some kind of videos.
Yeah,
I don't know, right?
There's a lot of tunnels in a lot of places. There are even supposedly tunnels connecting Turkey to Scotland. You know, like all
Really?
these like really old like you'll always see like people in England, they're renovating their basement and then or their wall, and now there's a cavern and there's like room for like 50,000 trucks of down there, you know?
Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool. And so, what about like ley lines? Like the stuff that you gave me, ley lines, PowerPoints. How does that kind
ley
of
lines
figure into all this stuff?
are
What are they? First, I have no idea.
ley lines are energy lines that crisscross the globe, and where the ley lines cross, it's called a vortice, and
Okay.
then these are the energy hotspots.
Okay.
And if you were to build a church there, let's say it's a church now, but it wasn't a church then.
Okay.
It's been repurposed or founded, right?
Okay.
And so these places would be ancient places where the locals could go to spiritually recharge, align their chakras, and they could physically heal from the vibrations of the organ music and
Okay.
the rosary windows. They didn't used to have glass in them. It was just for the air to go through certain ways and the frequencies and the vibrations. And yeah, so that's the main idea. So everywhere you go in the world where there are intersecting ley lines, there's usually some ancient structure there. Or if there's not, it's going to be like the Financial Times headquarters or like Langley CIA base, you know.
So people know where these lines are, and they want to claim that spot for certain things.
They're definitely being used
Okay.
now, even though they might not be used the same way they were originally used for. Like in Australia, they used them to cross vast distances. You know, people with a dowsing rod to find where the water is under the ground.
Sure, yeah.
To find ley lines is basically the same thing.
Okay.
So if you have a stick, you can basically find a ley line, and then if you know that you want to go from point A to point B, that's what they would do in Australia. In Australia, they called song lines. People might have heard that in China they called dragon lines.
Really, I've never heard of any of these terms at all.
Oh, really?
So I'm not that educated
ties in
on
with
this
feng
stuff.
shui.
Okay.
So you know
okay.
how some buildings have like a big circle in it, so that the dragon on the mountain could potentially fly through the building as opposed to flying around it because it's better feng shui.
Okay.
There's some buildings like that in Taiwan too.
That's crazy, man. That's So what, like, obviously, it's really cool and it's interesting. So like, what? Obviously, there are going to be skeptics as well.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like, so tell me about that. Like, how do you deal with skeptics, or tell me that.
I'm a lighthearted guy.
Yeah.
Someone says a negative comment about how I present something or something. I always just present it in a nice light. Oh, thanks for your comment. I'll try to improve on that. And of course, I am trying to improve. I want to become better and be a better presenter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things I do know about. There's always going to be people with, if you have a business or you have, your YouTube channel, there's always going to be haters. And sometimes you'll do something good and it'll pop off, and then the next video will pop off, and then the third one is like pop off, and then the fourth one is like nothing. It's a crazy game, YouTube, man. And then, you get people that jump on there, and like, for example, I've had a couple of, short clips kind of like explode where we were talking about, Chinese New Year versus Lunar New Year. And then, oh my gosh, that thing exploded because I was interviewing a Taiwanese lady and we were chatting and it was coming around. And I'm like, yeah, what are you going to do for Chinese New Year? And she's like, oh, for Lunar New Year, I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, you're the first Taiwanese in English that I heard that says lunar. So cool. Congrats.
Is that
right?
to be separated from China?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but all of there's thousands and thousands of comments, and it's just like,
what do you think? Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year? Let us know in the comments.
Let us know, right? and we just get, there's so many comments blasting me, and it's just go back to your country, and it's just crazy. Like, people get crazy about that stuff, man.
That stuff doesn't faze me.
Yeah, it doesn't faze me either, but it's kind of funny, man.
I do think it's kind of funny.
Yeah. It is funny, right?
Yeah.
So what about like inner Earth connections? Could the Pyramid of Taiwan be linking, stuff like that together?
I don't think the Taiwan pyramid is, but
okay. So what is, like, in your opinion?
So as you can see my shirt here, I have all these inner entrances. So this is my map of the inner Earth.
Okay.
It's not the map, it's my map.
Your
so
map.
I took other maps and I altered it to make it mine.
And where can we get this? I'm happy I've got my shirt already, but where can people find this?
I'm going to be selling them on my YouTube or
your channel.
You can find me on
links in the beginning. Yeah.
You can find me on the White Rabbit 4090 Facebook page. Message me there and I'll have it done.
And so where else can they find you? Tell me about your YouTube channel. Okay, well, tell me about that, and then we'll go back to the shirt, the inner Earth.
So the
People
inner
wanna find
Earth, basically there are 17 entrances. There's more on the back of the shirt.
Yeah, but what is it? Like, people say the inner Earth is just like...
the inner Earth, the hollow Earth, Agartha, Shambhala is a world inside of our world. So it's like, the North Pole and the South Pole have concave openings, which is like right here. So if you're on a ship or on an airplane, you could be flying here and you wouldn't even notice that you're flying into the inner Earth because the ground is still at the same elevation where you were. Okay. And there's a second sun inside of the inner Earth.
So there's stuff inside the inner Earth.
Yeah, people live there and stuff. Like,
really?
That's where the Nazis escaped to. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Well, to skip a little ahead, so at the end of World War II, a lot of Nazis made their way to South America, and that is not contested. There are cities that are just descendants of German people. And I do have... Let me show you here.
Yes, show me that.
You can show me. I'll show you here, and then you can show me on the screen.
Here, let me.
I got a few little Nazi signs in South America here, and those represent those places.
Interesting. Okay.
So, and there have been a lot of sightings of Hitler in South America. And then there's like missing U-boats, there's missing planes, and where did they go? They must have gone to the inner Earth, which...
So you're saying that they escaped by going into the inner Earth and then popping out in South America.
So they had a base in Antarctica called Base 311, and they annexed a part of Antarctica, and they called it New Schwabenland. And they did this in 1938 before the war even started. So what they were... The cover story is that they went to Antarctica so that they would be able to get whale oil to make margarine, which is very important in Germany.
Margarine? Okay.
Yeah, because they get their margarine or oil from Norway. Okay. But Norway would be their enemy once they start the war.
Okay.
So that was the cover story, similar to the Americans after the end of World War II had to go to Antarctica to rout out the last of the Nazis, and they said they were testing their equipment in cold conditions.
Interesting. Okay.
They had enough provisions to last for 6 months, and then they came back limping after 6 weeks with half their ships and people dead.
Okay.
Because the Nazis won. But
so what you're saying is people can actually, you can actually go into like the inner Earth and then pop up somewhere in the. I mean, how does that work? I'm
Basically,
curious. I have no
it
idea.
takes 2 weeks to hike from the outside of the planet to the inside of the planet. But there
Okay.
are lots of perils on the way. So most of the entrances are guarded by, believe it or not, Bigfoot.
Okay.
All right, so
Nice.
Bigfoot is the guardian of the inner Earth entrances, and they can feel whether you are pure-hearted or not.
Okay.
And if you are, they will let you pass. But if you're not, you're probably going to die.
So are you getting in? What do
I don't think so.
you think? Man, so when are we going? That sounds great. That sounds like a great.
a
that's
lot of
great
people
idea. I
have
wanna check it out.
attempted like expeditions with ships and lots of money to go, and they
armies or something, right?
They always die before they go.
Really?
Yeah, it's a conspiracy that's not a conspiracy. It's like the
Interesting,
inventors
okay.
that invent something that's too high tech is taken by the government, and they're not allowed to make any money on their invention. I talked about that in one of my episodes called Free Energy and Suppressed Technology.
Okay,
Where all
okay.
these inventors die suddenly of cancer, or they're hit by a car, or if the car didn't kill them, they got killed in the
Okay.
hospital. Anyway, it's
Okay.
yeah,
So-
going down the dark way. So let's make it happy again.
Okay. Yeah. No. I'm curious about like, there's like the flat Earth conspiracy. Is that kind of
no,
have
no,
some,
I don't
that's
wanna-
not connected at all.
No.
I'm just curious, man. I have no
I
idea.
have avoided talking about the flat Earth
Okay.
this entire time. Like I do
Okay.
have my 3 maps. I have the map that is the conspiracy theory map of the world.
Okay.
Next to it is the inner Earth map, and on top of that, I have the circle map, which is the outer continents map.
Okay.
And that would kind of be the flat Earth map.
Okay.
But because it's the outer continents beyond the ice wall, it's a completely different theory.
Okay.
So, speaking of the ice wall, some people believe
The
that
ice wall. What is that? Okay.
some people believe that Antarctica circles the world.
Okay.
And so basically, we are living in the known world in the middle, which is the world we know, and then every direction has ice on the edge, and you cannot get past the edge. And it's a weird one. I haven't made an episode about that yet because
Okay.
it's pretty hard to tackle it and seem sane. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I will do my best to make
Okay.
everyone happy.
So let's talk a little bit about YouTube, right? So the goal with YouTube is to. You tell me your goals with YouTube, man.
My goal for YouTube is to become, a full-time YouTuber.
Okay.
Have millions of followers and views, and I'll just start doing this full time.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously, when you're telling these stories, so recently I got invited to go to sort of these cryptocurrency conferences. Help them do some live stream, help them do some interviews and stuff like that. And I found that a lot of like the panel speakers, they go up and they're super knowledgeable, but their presentation and their storytelling, their kind of communication skill is really bad. So how do you like incorporate, the storytelling and stuff like that for your channel and for your viewers?
I don't know. I think it just comes naturally.
Yeah.
I basically I have an idea what I want to do. I always wait to
Tell
be
me the process, please.
I wait
Yeah.
to be inspired.
Okay.
And so as you can see on my map, I have hundreds of locations and icons, and I have like the anomalies and Atlantis and pyramids and megaliths.
Atlantis, nice.
And so I have ample ideas already on that map. And then I also have all my research, which is like I would take screenshots of anything that I've never seen before just so that I can research it later on.
Okay.
So I have like a dozen photo albums full of ideas. Yeah. But yeah, I just wait for like recently in my I usually talk about what I might be doing for the future episode in my live episodes that I
Okay,
do every
sure.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have an episode, and then I have a live episode to recap that episode and maybe talk about things that I couldn't talk about in the
Okay.
real episode.
Yeah.
And then I just say, this is definitely what's coming up, and this is what I might be working on. And then I usually end up making one of those.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, what about like a target audience, target market for your audience? Is it like Taiwanese? Is it worldwide? Like, tell me kind of like a little bit about that.
Well, at the moment, the people that watch me are 50% American, but
Okay.
for the Taiwan pyramid videos, maybe like 40% Taiwanese. But Taiwanese is usually around 10%. But like it's easier for me to reach English speakers than
Yeah,
it is
sure.
for Taiwanese
Of course.
speakers. But I
Of
live in
course.
Taiwan, so I want them
Yeah.
to be able to understand. and like my mother-in-law would not be able to know anything I'm doing unless there were Chinese subtitles.
So you got the subtitles.
Yeah.
Okay,
so hopefully I'll break out and make it big in the Taiwan scene.
Okay.
Yeah, I just do whatever I want to do, and for the research, I just watch some videos and go on Google and Wikipedia and just I'll write down everything I can, and I'll have like a big bunch of papers on my desk, and I'll, put it all together. I write everything by hand.
Okay.
I don't use a computer.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
Very low tech.
For what reason? Now I'm curious. Now
no, that's just
how you remember better, or
I never learned to type.
Okay. Well, I'm still
I
like
can type with like 3 or 4 fingers, but like I didn't think that high school class was important because it was like the first year they were offering it or something.
Yeah. And high school, that's another story.
A long time ago.
And go ahead, keep going.
So then I have my script, and then I just, while I'm recording it, I'll take some things out or add some things, and then usually I try not to move my phone at all. It's just in that position for 5 hours until I'm done filming. And when I take breaks, I don't take my phone because I'll get stuck down the rabbit hole of the shorts on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, shorts are crazy, right? Yeah.
And then send it off to the editor, put all the scenes together, and then I do all the images for the background, which usually takes me about an hour per minute. So every minute of my video will take an hour for the background images, more or less.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're doing I got a picture of your studio coming up here, right? A little bit of your studio stuff there.
Yeah.
And you're doing all this stuff at home, or
no? I just have a studio to do that, and I just
that's awesome.
Paint the green wall, and this picture is to show all my fancy new lights because I only had 2 lights before that.
That's great. Now the lights are so important, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes you can have an amazing camera and then no lighting and it still looks crap. And you can kind of have like a cell phone, but like perfect lighting and it looks good.
My next purchase is going to have to be a good microphone because
what are you using for mic? You're using a lav mic, right? You said?
I don't know. It's just something that like connects to my phone, and I don't have to put anything on my computer, which is simple.
That's all right, man.
Yeah.
You got to start simple for sure. Yeah.
Plus eventually I want to have like a tech to do that stuff for me, kind of like Joe Rogan has Jamie. I want to have Jamie.
Sure.
But right now it's just me, so everything is low tech.
It's crazy, like doing this kind of thing. I mean, when I started this, I also just had like an old GoPro, and after like 20 minutes, it would just turn off, even though it was plugged in and it wasn't supposed to turn off. So there would be these podcasts where I'll be talking to people, and then I look up there and it's off, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's so bad. So it's I think if you're interested in it, it's not too difficult, I think, to learn. A lot of like the live streaming. What do you use for live streaming, like your software and stuff? Just like Facebook Live, YouTube Live? Is that what you use?
YouTube Live.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
If that's even an app, I don't know. I just
no, that's Live. It. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Beautiful, man. So, like, let's talk a little bit about the conspiracy culture, right? So, in the West, it's a pretty big thing, right? Mm-hmm. I have no idea how it is here. Like, I've been here for a long time, but I don't know anything about conspiracy culture in Asia or in Taiwan. So, tell me about that.
In Taiwan, it's mostly either ancient Aboriginal stuff or it's China. But I'm not going to do the China stuff. But the ancient Aboriginal stuff is pretty cool. And then the Japanese, they have like 2 places where they are supposedly like buried gold. One is in Taidong and one is in Keelung.
Ooh,
and then
what are we doing here, man?
There was a guy in Taidong that he got the permits to dig on Aboriginal land.
Okay.
But when the Aboriginals found out what he was digging for, they wanted to revoke it because they want to find it themselves.
Yeah, of course. Everybody wants the gold, right? It's like hidden treasure.
It's like he spent 20 years finding out exactly where to dig, and then he has like a 2-day permit, and then he was out before he found anything.
Ah, man. So it's still
out there potentially. And then there's also like there are in Hawaii, they're called the menahun. And they're kind of like small statured beings, maybe like 3 foot talls and darkish.
Okay.
And Taiwan has stories of those people as well.
Really?
From in Taidong and another tribe.
So do you have to like dig deep into like history and stuff? You must have.
Oh yeah,
right. So you have to be a history buff as well to be.
I love history and geography, so it's easy for me. But there's a lot of Bible stuff and references like that as well. So one of my friends, she's a Bible expert, so I would say send me 392 or like Isaiah example,
Psalms or
and then
something. Okay.
she'll send it to me, and I'll include it, and it's great because I wouldn't be able to find it.
That's crazy, man. I love that. That's really cool. Let me pull up some pictures here. You tell me what's going on. So the first one is this, your map, right?
So that is the back of
That's the
this
back
shirt.
of what we're wearing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And this is another entrance.
So the inside of the world
Okay.
is based on Nazi maps. So
Okay.
they actually made it to the inner Earth,
Okay.
and then originally there were like Nazi symbols on the 3 islands that were given to them because they made an agreement with the inner Earth people.
Okay. So there's another. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then ask me a question again.
Okay. No problem. Check this out. Bam. Next picture. This
All
one
right.
I'm really interested in. So tell me about this.
This is the Palau Green Pyramid, which I will be going to on Saturday. Well, I'm going to Palau on Saturday. I'll be there for a week, and my mission is to film the Palau Pyramid episode. And
Is it also contested? Like it's not. People say it is one. It's not one.
So there's this German archaeologist,
Okay.
and she, when she was like researching and doing the digging, and they found like human remains in the mounds, and there are 137 earthen mounds similar to this one.
Really?
And,
Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
in
Okay.
Palau. But the people from Palau, they don't even know that it's there. This was only discovered like a year or two ago. It was just before COVID.
Just before COVID.
And then,
okay.
so all the inhabitants, they live within sight of the ocean. Like they're like on the edge,
Okay.
Makes sense. And nobody lives in the highlands.
Oh.
And so they don't even have legends of this place. The only legend is like a big serpent, like, laid there and stopped. But there's the legend of Uab the giant, which basically he ate and ate and ate, and then he couldn't sustain himself on what was being provided from the islands.
Okay.
The islanders killed him, and then with fire, and then he kind of like exploded and became all the islands. So
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of okay. Beautiful. So you're gonna go in there. You're gonna go check that out, and hopefully find this one, and hopefully dig your way in. Or what's the
there's
plan?
one that is like I guess it's like there's a trail you can go there.
Okay.
But a lot of them are like not excavated. There's just LiDAR, and they know where they are.
Okay.
And since Palau belonged to Germany,
I didn't know that.
so
Okay.
it belonged to Spain, and then the Germans bought it in like the 1900s, and then it belonged to Germany for a while, and then when World War I happened, Japan was not on Germany's side, and they took all their German possessions in the Pacific.
Okay.
And so all these islands stayed Japanese until the end of World War II. So because it was Japanese, and the Americans had to make their way up to Japan, and
Okay.
so there's a lot of unexploded ordnance on the island. So it's not very good to be exploring off the beaten trail.
Oh, okay.
Similar
okay.
to Taiwan, where some people will have like traps for catching wild animals
Okay,
and dogs.
sure, yeah.
So can be dangerous if you're off trail.
Okay.
But if you have a walking stick and have it in front of you, it should be okay. But landmines,
So you're gonna go do that your trail yourself. That's the plan. Are you going with I guess that's
yeah,
personal,
I'm gonna
maybe.
stay on the
Okay.
main trails
Okay.
in Palau for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Another picture here. Bam.
That's in
Those were the
Taiwan.
cracks. Yeah, there were
that's
the cracks of
the interlocking wall, and if you could make the picture like go down a little bit, I mean,
drive.
yeah. So you can see that one on the right, or maybe on the left, depending how you're seeing it. So it's
Yeah.
like it has the staircase kind of like interlocking, and on the other side on the right, there's like almost like a teardrop, and it's like a polygonal stone that's just like perfectly interlocking. And this is just one example, the best example of many that are in the surroundings of the Taiwan pyramid.
And then so what do people say? Because that looks like man-made, right? Like
So
so what people be like? No, it's not.
The first time I went there, I was with my friend, and he's an anthropologist,
Yeah.
and he's like, this is definitely not man-made. This is natural formations. And so then I brought
It's perfect. Okay.
yeah. So then, but then maybe the third or fourth time that I went, I brought an archaeologist friend of mine who's like, he's an English teacher that studied archaeology.
Okay.
But he did the pits in Romania and stuff.
Okay.
And then at the end, they just cover it all up and like leave. And I'm like, oh,
Okay.
okay. So anyway, he said that it's not natural, but he is
Okay.
not he's not an archaeologist now. He's an English
Okay.
teacher now.
A teacher.
So
Okay.
yeah. So
More fun, I
and
think,
he doesn't
no?
want me to name him. So
That's cool. That's okay. Yeah. More fun teaching English in Taiwan, right? Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so yeah, it's
Yeah.
good stuff. I love that. There's your map of Mu, right?
yeah.
And there's your other map. And I got 2 more pictures here for you. Number 1, what is this?
Taiwan Kaohsiung UFO. So the one very prominent theory is that UFOs they charge in electrical storms,
Okay.
and this was witnessed in Kaohsiung, and the report wasn't even about the UFO. It was about the lightning, just the crazy lightning storm.
Yeah.
And then you can see that there's a UFO in the middle of that circle.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a UFO because it's an unidentified flying object. We don't know what
we
that
don't
is.
know what it is. Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not saying it's a spacecraft, but it's definitely something.
Okay. Yeah.
And
yeah.
and then more recently there was one in Hualien. I didn't send you that one though.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
well,
just kind of like a gray sphere floating in Hualien, and it's in one of my episodes.
That's awesome, man. I
Yeah.
love that. How many episodes are you at right now? Do you count them?
I think, including the lives, I think it's like 95 or 99.
Nice.
But
Nice, okay.
it's about half that. So like usually there's like an episode and then there's a live. Sometimes
Okay.
I'll skip a live and put another episode. Like
Okay.
technical difficulties, I couldn't post the live, so I'll put an episode so I keep the algorithm happy, having something every week.
Technical difficulties are always going to happen, man. Doesn't matter how long. I've been doing this for ages, and a couple weeks ago, I had two episodes that were all technical difficulties in a row, and it's like, what the hell? I thought I got this thing, done. Crazy.
Can someone confirm that we're actually live right now?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, well, Francis is right there. Yeah, we got the live chat on the side
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
we're good. We're good. One more. Bam. It's like you got your flyer. This guy right here.
Oh yeah,
no?
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is my flyer. I can't exactly say what all the Chinese says, but one of them says Chinese subtitles, and one says Taiwan is part of the continent of Mu or continent of Mu.
Okay.
Maybe you can read the rest. I don't know.
Oh, dude, I can't read
No,
nothing. Yeah, I know. You think too highly of me, man.
All right.
My reading is nothing, bro.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
almost
single
zero.
characters only. Yeah.
I have like
So
beef, maybe. That's
Yeah,
that's
I
about
made
it, yeah.
500 of these, and I
Okay.
posted them around. Go to restaurants and places
kinda-
where I know people. I say, hey, can you put this up on the wall? And
Yeah.
they're all happy to do it. And
Yeah.
and then I even have a thing with my students that if they see one, they take a picture of it with themselves, and then
Yeah.
they can get some extra stamps.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
That, man. That's beautiful. Man, we've covered quite a bit. One more thing. Mythical creatures. Like I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at like there's a monster, right? What is this?
Oh, the
You got
monster
stuff. Like, tell me, aliens, giants, monolith, like radioactive. Like, there's a lot of stuff on this, man.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, you're talking about mythical creatures. And
All
stuff
right.
like
Well,
that.
the episode I
Bigfoot.
just finished filming is called the Cynocephaly Dogmen. So there's a race
Okay.
of humanoid creatures that look like humans, but they have a dog head, and
Oh.
so they appear everywhere around the world in ancient times, from northern Russia to India to Africa to North America and even South America. Even though I didn't mention the South America in my episode because I found it
Okay.
like after I filmed it.
Okay.
But anyway, so
We are live. Full value, Dan. Appreciate you, brother. Yes.
there you go. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
So there are several theories of how they could have come to be. Maybe evolution, or maybe their genetically engineering is the biggest one. So
Gotcha.
in Romania, the Busegi Mountains, which is one of the inner Earth entrances, they
Inner
have
Earth,
the
baby. Let's go.
they have the Hall of Records, which basically is one of the places that the CIA would have found and then gone inside and say, oh, there's like a holographic projection room that says, if you put this DNA and this DNA together, this is what the result will look like.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of like ancient secrets and stuff. So basically, the dogmen, or cynocephaly, which is the real Latin term,
Okay.
would have been where they came from, and they had all kinds of heightened abilities. Like they're
Gotcha.
stronger, they have pack mentality.
Okay.
And then the modern day explorers, like they'll say modern, like Marco Polo is like
Okay.
the most modern we'll get. But
Okay,
there's
yeah.
there's like 5 or 6 prominent people, like Herodotus was one of them, that cited the dogmen in like ancient times. They're
They're
traveling.
yeah,
It's like
we've seen
Marco
these
Polo.
guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so some of them said that they communicated with barking, but they didn't communicate with barking. They communicated telepathically, which is part of like why they're such good like army people. Like
Okay.
they were like the
Yeah.
shock troops of the Tartarians and they're giants too. Like if you see, I have some pictures. They're like on a horse, but their feet are on the ground.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So,
I had a lot of pictures to go through. Yeah.
yeah.
You sent me a bunch. Yeah.
So the
Okay.
dogmen are definitely one kind of monster. That's why I put the monster icon here next to
Gotcha.
Tartaria.
Okay, gotcha.
Other monsters are like the Loch Ness
Loch Ness
monster,
Monster, okay,
the Ogopogo in British Columbia, and then there's the organism 46B, which is in Antarctica, and that's an octopus. And something that you guys might not know is that all octopuses are aliens. They all came to Earth on a comet, and this is like real science. You can Google it. Like I'm not like this is not a conspiracy.
Tell me about it.
So like all octopuses came from space, basically. Yeah,
Really?
they came in on meteorites, and then their DNA is completely different from us. And
Really?
they're also very smart, as you know. They can pick the Super Bowl and stuff.
Oh yeah. There you go. The Super Bowl. Yeah. That's hilarious, man. But future of the channel, like we were talking about that. First of all, where can people find you? One more time. Let's talk about it.
All right, well, it's called the White Rabbit 4090, and you can find me on YouTube and on the Facebook. And I also have an Instagram, but I don't use it. I just saved the name for now. I'm
Okay,
waiting
yeah,
to have my technical advisor person to just, post it to all the places for me.
You need Francis for that. No?
Yeah.
You got to get the French Canadians for that one. And what's the significance of the 4090?
Oh,
the White Rabbit 4090.
Yeah, it's random.
It's random.
Yep,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man. Is there anything that we didn't hit on that you wanted to make sure that we got?
Maybe I can introduce one thing of each of these categories.
Please do it. Yeah.
So
Get it down.
for the anomaly, we have the Baltic Sea anomaly, which is in the Baltic Sea, the Bay of Bothnia. Mm-hmm. And it looks like a crashed UFO, which resembles the Millennium Falcon of Star Wars.
Nice.
It's not the Millennium Falcon, but it could be a
like
UFO.
Okay.
It could be a Nazi operations, because whenever you go within 200 meters of the anomaly, all radio or electronic equipment will stop functioning.
Okay.
And when you get back out of the area, it'll stop. It's similar to the one in...
Is that like the Bermuda Triangle thing, or that's bullshit, or what? What is
Nah,
it?
that's not bullshit. That's definitely real. But
Okay.
But it's a completely different story.
Okay,
I haven't
okay.
made an episode about it yet. But yeah, a lot of...
Okay.
The one that's more interesting is the Dragon's Triangle, which is near us in Taiwan. So right here we have...
Okay.
It's basically Taiwan to Japan to the Mariana Islands. And it's a triangle. And it's the same as the Bermuda Triangle, where ships and people disappeared. And it was extremely problematic for the Americans during World War II, because the Japanese knew about this place and then the Americans didn't.
And they just kept pushing
They
them
kept
in?
putting people in there, and then they kept disappearing, and they just thought it was the Japanese, but the Japanese don't go there.
Yeah, they're like, hey, just push them. Okay.
It's called the Dragon's Triangle or the Devil's Sea.
Interesting. Okay.
Atlantis has 4 possible locations. One is the Sahara Desert in Africa.
Okay.
Another one is the Cape Verde in the Pacific, in the Atlantic. Sorry. Another one is just off of Florida here, and then the other one is Antarctica.
Okay.
Under the ice, there's cities and all kinds of fun stuff there.
Okay, that's cool.
Pyramids all over the world. China has over 200 pyramids by themselves. And then the interesting part is that nobody knew about the pyramids in China until World War II, when the Americans were flying over the land, and they just took pictures of what they thought was interesting, and then that was in the newspapers in America, and it became a big thing. And now they're completely off limits. They plant trees on the pyramids.
Oh,
they don't.
really?
They have like plainclothes security officers around, and they have like security cameras. They don't want anyone disproving China's 5,000-year history.
Oh shoot, gotcha. Okay, I'm like, why would they hide it? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But also
gotcha.
some of the tombs are booby trapped and stuff. Like there's a lot of red mercury, or that if you open it, the booby traps, you'll die. Like the one in Beijing is
Oh really?
is a death trap. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Cool.
Radioactive sites are places where you might not want to go to because, it's dangerous and you'll die. But like Fukushima and Chernobyl, interesting place about those is that there was a UFO that came up to suck up the excess radiation so it wouldn't go critical.
Okay.
I talked about that in the nuclear
Really?
radiation
Okay.
episode.
Okay.
But more recently, they're used as cover-ups. So like in the Pacific, there's a place called Malden Island where they have like 100 megalithic sites on like the size of like a park in Taiwan. You know, it's just like, it's not a big island. It used to be bigger, but most of it sunk beneath the water. They have
Gotcha.
roads that lead directly into the sea. And so they bombed this island so that no one would be able to go there.
Where is this one again? Where is this island?
It's called Malden Island.
Okay.
It's close to the Marquesas a little bit.
Okay.
But everything is, even if it's close, it's still far away, right?
Okay. Yeah.
The Malden Island was the British bombed it, and there's also Henderson Island that the Americans bombed, but that was more like in the atmosphere. And then there was like it was 1967, and there was like a holocaustic rainbow over Hawaii, and they have like postcards and stuff like from the 60s and 70s.
Really?
Yeah. So basically, what happened is they exploded this bomb like 400 kilometers above the land, which is kind of like in the ionosphere in space,
Gotcha.
to see what would happen.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And it stayed visible in the sky for months because the half-life of like the particles is like 100 days, and then but that's half, and the science terminology is kind of complicated, but it's basically, let's bomb here, no one's going to be able to go there, and then 50 years later when they can go there, let's make it a bird sanctuary so they still can't go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's what happened for those islands.
Interesting.
Megaliths are like anything that's like so huge that we don't know how it was built. Like in Baalbek, Lebanon, they have these huge stones that like even the Romans, they couldn't move it, but they built on top of it, right?
Okay,
so it looks like it was the Romans who built it, but it was pre-existing. You know, everybody's temple is on top of someone else's temple, right?
Okay.
Same like in Mexico, they found a pyramid and they built a church on top of it to cover it up. You know?
Okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I should, I guess, but I didn't. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Giants are ancient giants. Like everyone in the Bible was a giant.
Okay.
Like Noah was 33 feet tall.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
and
really?
it like you go to church and you learn about church stuff, but they don't tell you about the giants. You only know about the one where
that dude Goliath. What's his name?
Goliath,
David and Goliath. Right?
David and Goliath is the one you know about because he's the only example. But like, everybody was a giant, and they just don't talk about it because it was like common knowledge. But when you try searching giant, like if you try Tuvalu giant, you're gonna get like a soccer team or a bag of chips, and there's lots of ways for them to not let you find what you want to find. Yeah.
Okay.
For aliens, it'll be like an alien invasion species, like in the waters around the coral and stuff like that. There's like so many things that like lead you to different ways.
I'm curious, like, while you kind of do research, and now with like the addition of like AI, have you ever tried to use any of that, or is it just like does not compute?
With conspiracy theories, if you use AI, then people will like say everything you use is AI.
Okay, I'm just curious because I think that's a new thing, right?
So for me, I'll use some like I want to portray like the hologram room that I mentioned. I'll use AI for that because it'll be obviously AI. But I don't want to do something that's like, is that real, or like is a UFO I'm not gonna fake a UFO in the sky or something like that. It needs to be just to portray like a 5-second segment of my video, right?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Portals can transfer you from one location in the world to another location in the world.
That's awesome.
Or to other dimensions.
Okay.
So like in Sri Lanka, they have the portal that I used to be able to say it, but it's really hard. It's a very long word. But you can...
Sri Lanka.
Yeah, so you can't use anything electronic. So they have like oil lamps, and then they can astral travel to other dimensions and other places more easily through the portal. You could astral travel from your bedroom too, but like these are monks that just go to this one specific spot because it has more power, and they can basically you can go anywhere in the world and see anything you want, or you could go to the moon 50 years ago, or like witness anything. Yeah.
Nice.
HARP are weather and mind control. Stations around the world.
HAARP. Okay.
Yeah. High auroral active. I forgot.
okay. That's all good. All good.
Yeah. Then we have the triangles all over the world. Bermuda Triangle. There's even the Michigan Triangle.
Okay.
There's even the MH370 triangle.
Okay. I don't even know what that is, but okay.
It's the airplane that disappeared at Malaysian Airlines like 10 years ago.
Oh, I heard about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it did. I remember that. That was that mystery. Okay.
Yeah. And then we have the Nazis. The Nazis are not about like Nazis now or people that believe in those kind of theories. It's more about the esoteric theories. They had a whole division called the Ahnenerbe, which was dedicated to two things: finding ancient relics of the past that was like ancient technology that they can put to use now, kind of like the Spear of Destiny. Anybody that has it cannot lose in battle. But they didn't use the Spear of Destiny. Okay. They just had it as a relic hanging on the wall, you know?
Okay.
And then we have the submerged continents, which are kind of like the dotted lines. The continent of Mu, there's Lemuria, Doggerland, High Brazil, Sanikov Land, the Isle of Devils. Anyway. And then we have the ice wall that we already mentioned, monsters, and time travel. Time travel, kind of hard to put on the map, but there's like the chronovisor, which it was invented in the Vatican, which allowed viewers to review the past. So the builder was able to see
like a window into the past.
Yeah, they could see Christ on the cross. But when they were there, like you can also see other time travelers that are witnessing it as well. So that's kind of interesting. I did do the time travel in Ukraine episode where the guy disappeared for many years.
Okay, it was. We got a comment up there. It was the aliens, man. All right.
Yeah, everything.
What's up, Logan? How you doing, brother? I haven't seen you in a long time, man. The big one of the big YouTuber here actually as well. Logan's great guy. Yeah.
Well, nice to see you there.
Yes, beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And then you wanted to tell me what this meant on this, like Latin on the top there?
Yeah, it's Latin. And, the map title is Carta Totis Mundi Aliquam Arcana Loca et Dictus Incognita, which means map of conspiracy theories and mysterious places around the world, because there's not actually a word for conspiracy in Latin.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like, it's map of the entire world and mysterious places is the actual title.
There you go.
And then
okay.
And then this is Antarctica with ice and without ice. Okay. And it's depicted much bigger than it actually is depicted on most maps, because most maps don't even show Antarctica, or they just show the southern projection.
Okay.
Because they don't want people to like be looking at the map and dreaming about it. Oh, I want to go there. If you can't see it, you're not going to think about it. You're not going to go there. They don't want people going to Antarctica. They don't want
people going.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you notice this up here? What's that?
Yeah, I have no clue what that is, man. What is this?
So on the north of the map, there's another landmass that if you didn't look carefully, you maybe not see, but it's called Hyperborea. And it's and this is the northern projection of the world with Hyperborea as a circle.
Oh.
So it's very I've never found an image of a map with Hyperborea on a flat map. They're always depicted as like a north facing angle, so I kind of had to like, stretch it out and kind of DIY it.
And so this is land, like up there? Or
yeah.
Okay.
And then right in the middle is the inner Earth entrance.
Oh, gotcha.
And then, so basically, these are 4 land masses, and the rivers all in between are like the water is going inside. So if you get stuck there, you're going to get pulled into the inner Earth.
Oh, okay.
And then there's a big black magnetic rock up there. And some people think that rock is what is causing your compass to go that way. But actually, the magnetic North Pole is actually moving a lot. It used to be like over Canada, and now it's like over Russia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's real. That's not a conspiracy.
Okay. I have no idea, man. Okay. It's most of the stuff you mentioned today. It's just the first I've ever heard of it. So that's interesting stuff for sure, man. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for that. I mean, do you have anything you want to say here before we call it? How are we looking at time here? About an hour. Yeah.
Wow.
Time flies, man. It goes by really fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, follow the White Rabbit.
Yeah, follow. So I think you gave me the link. If not, I'll definitely put that link in the description below.
It's in the one you sent me.
Okay, there it's in there. So just scroll down below, check out that link, and don't forget to subscribe to the White Rabbit.
Yep.
Man, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. My pleasure. Thank you guys for watching. If you want more stories like this, go check out the White Rabbit. Description below. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you everybody for watching Eddie's show. We feel only happiness, don't feel any sorrow. Welcome everybody to watch much more on his contact. Eddie Live Podcast. Eddie Live Podcast.